You got an intro for me this week? No intro? Okay, brought to you by Dr. Yaldo, as you know. I tell you, the first play of the game, Jared Goff fumbles the snap. I go, oh no, is this more of what happened in Green Bay? Or this? I look forward to this. And then I got Daryl Johnson as the color guy just yapping and yapping. I'm thinking, oh, I got to turn the volume down on this. But then after that, my God, it was some type of record, I think. They scored 21 points in less than 7 minutes. It was 8:15 left, so it's 6 minutes and 45 seconds. But they established the running game. J-Mo makes a nice catch.
J-Mo had a catch?
J-Mo made a nice catch. A big run by Gibbs, and then Montgomery takes it, and boom, it's 7-0. 2 minutes and 15 seconds into the game.
Well, I have news for you. J-Mo did not make. Oh, he did make a catch. Yeah, 11 yards. That's right.
Yep.
Damn, I missed that.
Yeah.
You're too hard on him.
I don't know why you hate him so much.
I don't hate him that much. I want more than 13 receptions out of a first-round draft pick. That's his 13th catch in 9 games.
Well,
Then you got to take some targets away from Laporta or Amon-Ra St. Brown.
I think.
Wait, what do you got? You think this is acceptable production for Jameson Williams?
I think he's doing great so far for the team.
Wait, are you joking? Or are you serious?
I'm not lying. I don't. Sure, maybe
Mark,
I would
is he
like
joking?
Tim to
No,
have
he's
more.
not. He's not joking. I don't
think Jameson Williams is a bad player.
I thought he was a bust. I think he's not a bust anymore. I think he'll get there. I think
there's been an uptick in his performance. Come on.
I think you've been a little too hard on him, Drew.
Oh, hold on. When do you expect him to start catching a first-round draft pick level of catches?
By the end of the season.
Okay.
I do.
Okay, I'll hold you to that.
I do. We'll see. I mean,
we said 35 catches for an over-under. He's got 13.
He's got plenty of games left.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's impossible to determine.
I think he's pretty good. I think there's something there, though. You can see.
Yeah.
Well, there better be. He's a first-round pick. He's a season into his career.
At some point, he's missed how many games because of the suspension?
He's played a season. He's played 15. Okay, 2 games shy of a season.
Yeah,
he's got 14 catches in his career. And I thought his run today was great. Don't get me wrong. I think he's got tremendous athletic ability.
He does, and
I just can't believe how satisfied you guys are with him.
I'm not satisfied, but I'm not totally dissatisfied.
He's a cog in the machine.
He's
He's a cog in the machine, and it worked well today. He scored a touchdown. He had a catch. He probably had a whole bunch of blocks that you didn't even notice.
He's not that run too.
Team
The
player.
guy makes a block, and you guys just
If they were losing,
blow up.
You needed somebody to point to. You can say, "Well, when's he going to come around? We need him." But they're doing okay.
They lost last week.
They did, but anyway, they're 9-3. And so then they're up 7-0. Then Carr on the first play, his receiver Juwan Johnson drops the ball, goes through his hands. Nice little pick by Brian Branch, and then they score again moments later. Touchdown pass to Laporta, 14-0, and it's under 5 minutes. There's 10:24 left in the first quarter. Next series, big play to Laporta, a bad tackling, and the announcers are ripping the Saints and what's wrong with them, and the people in the stands are thinking, well, why did it even show up today? 8:15 left. Now they're up 21-0 after he hits St. Brown for a touchdown. But then then they sack Carr on the next series, and you think, oh no, that's going to be 28. Then suddenly everything changed. Punt, and it's 21-7 at the half. Graham catches a TD, and then in the second half, New Orleans storms back, and the Lions are playing bad football again. But again, they come back, 24-14. Chris Olave catches a touchdown pass. So it comes down to where the Lions are ahead.
I think they were pretty fortunate that Carr went out of the game.
Oh, definitely. Well,
he completed 15 in a row at that point.
He completed 15 in a row. Bruce Irvin knocks him down, penalty, deservedly so. And then in comes
I'll take that penalty.
In comes Jameson Winston, and a bad pass, a tip ball. Branch tips it, and he tips it right to Olave. It might have been picked off by Jerry Jacobs, and they score after that. So now it's 33-28. Oh my goodness, what is happening in this game? And then on 3rd and 10, Montgomery drops a pass. Oh boy, 6 minutes left. They get it back. But the Lions hold on 33-28, and they're 9-3. So they've got the second best record in the division. Now tonight we're not going to see the Philadelphia San Francisco game because that's on this afternoon, and we're doing the show at 4:00. But I think you got a root for Philadelphia to beat the 49ers.
Why?
Because the Lions aren't going to get the top seed. So there's 7 teams in the division that will make the playoffs. Three wild card teams. But the point is, the number 1 seed, if it's Philadelphia, then the Lions get the number 2 seed, which guarantees them home field all the way through. It's done as far as what your seed is. So then they do play Dallas near the end of the year, and if the Lions beat Dallas and San Francisco loses today, then the Lions have a much better shot at being the number 2 seed. Listen,
why would you root for the Eagles, Mark?
Well, I want the Eagles to lose.
Why would you root for San Francisco?
No, you don't want the Eagles to lose.
Why?
Because then the 49ers can have a better record than the Lions.
Aim your sights high.
How are they going to catch?
They're not going to catch the Eagles.
Maybe San Francisco destroys them so bad the wheels fall off and Hurts get hurt.
I don't
being
think
practical.
so.
If San Francisco loses, they've got
the loser mentality.
Now the Lions have the number 2 seed in the.
What do you think the Lions are?
They're going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I thought they were impressive
boy.
today.
Why are you so negative about them?
You are.
I love the Lions. I love this
sounds
team,
like
but
it.
I just agree with Eli
They haven't-
that San Francisco having a worse record is a much better shot than Philadelphia.
You know they're going to
Why
make.
am I the bad guy?
We're going to win out, and Philadelphia's going to
You're
lose
making me the
3
bad
more
guy,
times.
This is the biggest suck-ups I've ever heard in my
I'm
life.
just making sense. I'm just saying what is best for the Lions.
Makes
and
sense
that
with
is
sports.
to get the 2nd seed. That way, of course, if they may wind up playing Philadelphia, but at least they'll have home field the first 2 games, and they could conceivably win those. And
I
have a chance of winning.
agree with you 100%.
Anyway,
Did you guys blow by the biggest highlight of the game today, by the way? I think you did.
The
already.
sideline guy?
Yeah, the dude whose leg snapped in half and everybody got to see it and
was
watch
gross.
it, and then Drew tweeted about it. And
That was
That
gross.
was awful.
they've already written
brutal.
articles about it.
A lot of broken legs going on. And I mean, Zach Zinter a broken leg. There's broken legs everywhere.
I didn't think that when Kamara went into him, I didn't see how he busted it like that. I mean, it looked like it was certainly something would hurt.
Yeah.
But holy shit.
Yeah.
I tell you, who made the play of the game was Bruce Irvin knocking
That's
Carr
what I
out of the
said.
game.
Yeah, I'll take that penalty all day long.
All day long. And Winston, they were right there. Winston, as they were driving to win the game, he throws wide to a wide open Olave.
Yeah.
3 in
Then
a row.
he throws a crappy pass to Kamara that he can't catch, and then another one that's way off, too far inside to Olave again. He had 3 open receivers, missed them all, and that was kind of the game right there.
No, Goff had to complete 2 third-down passes. He completed one to Laporta.
Yeah.
And then who was the last one? Was that St. Brown?
No, it was Reynolds.
Reynolds, yeah. Look at, I tell you, the wideout production in this team is, I'm not even going to say Jamison Williams' name this time. Look at how little production they get from the wideouts.
Look at the production they're getting out of Laporta.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's great, but don't you think you should have wideouts who can...
Well, but you have wideouts
free?
that can do a lot of different. Jamo also scored the go-ahead touchdown that won the game.
I know that, but I mean, do you know a lot of Super Bowl teams that have wideouts that have this few receptions? Don't you usually have one guy that...
Kansas City was driven by one wideout and a great tight end.
They've got good receivers.
The difference is Kansas City has a legitimate quarterback.
But now
too, a
Kansas City
superstar.
has no receivers at all.
When Jared Goff doesn't have a lot of time, I don't trust our wideouts to be getting open for him. They don't.
We got a lot of them.
Get
though.
that open.
St. Brown.
I trust Jamison Brown before I would. I mean, St. Brown is fantastic, but if we had better wideouts, I think his production would probably be a little less.
Well, I suppose if you had 3, first team All-Pro wideouts, you'd be in better shape. But I think they got 3 or 4 pretty good receivers and a great.
Why is everybody 3 first team? No, I didn't say that.
And a great tight end. They got a
Their
great.
production is disappointing.
Well,
the numbers.
Well, that's because they run the ball a lot too.
Yeah, 2-headed beast. Montgomery and Gibbs. Oof.
So
Super Bowl, baby.
they're in good shape, and from here on in, they got a very favorable schedule. They got 9 wins now. They should wind up with 12. They play at Chicago. They should beat the Bears. That makes them 10-3. They host Denver, who's losing today. So Denver's certainly beatable.
They're a weird team, Denver, man.
Then 2 against
Broncos
Minnesota.
lost today, yeah.
Did they? Yeah.
They did? Okay, so the Broncos are 6-6. So they're playing 5-6 Chicago, 6-6 Denver. Minnesota doesn't have a quarterback. They don't know who's going to play quarterback. They play them twice, and they got Dallas. So they could easily
All wins.
They could win 4 out of the last 5.
Hell yeah, baby.
They're at Dallas. I wouldn't count that one, but they're going to win 4 out of the last 5. Would give me 13 wins. So they're in good shape.
Football!
And it's good they had a 21-0 lead because otherwise they got beat the rest of the game. But that's the NFL.
I don't know
When Sorsdahl comes in the game, is that when the offense just wraps it up? Because they got that huge lead, and then Ragnow got hurt.
Right.
And so Graham slid down, and they were out Sorsdahl, and it was like, okay, now we can't run the ball at all. It's amazing how one guy can make that big a difference.
And they got two, if Ragnow is out, and they also still have Vitae is out, so they've taken some injuries in the offensive line.
But I tell you,
We need to fix our secondary more than anything.
defense is kind of scary. If we can't get a better pass rush, I just don't. How long can these guys hold out back there? It seems not long.
They need a better pass rush, but no team is perfect in this league. There's holes everywhere. No team is perfect, and no team can win every game handily. And the fact that they did it today is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
On the road.
Well, it's a nice road win. I agree.
9-3, man.
They're dangerous, man.
9-3. It's nothing to so they won 17 of their last 22. This is a good team.
Still
I
should
knew
have gone
people-
for that fourth down, though.
Geeked.
There were people falling apart after last week, which I thought was really dramatic. But I think what happens is when you're playing as well as the Lions are, there's a piece of me that's looking for that thing that's going to cost them at some point. Not that I want it to happen. It's just, I wish they could shore up the defense a little bit.
Yeah. Well, they had one weak game against the Packers, and other than that, they've been in every game except for the one against Baltimore. But like I say, no team is perfect, and they're probably one of the 5 or 6, 7 teams that's got a chance to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
a chance.
There's no reason to bitch. This is the first time they're 9-3 in my life. It's only the second time they're 9-3 in my dad's life. This is it's exciting period, man.
Yeah.
You had the Bears growing up. You had winning teams. I didn't have shit.
Oh, we had
We had the
plenty of
Lions in the
losers,
early
believe me.
90s.
Yeah, but I
had
don't
the-
remember it too well.
I had the Cubs, the White Sox, who didn't win anything until 2005. The Bears came through in 85, but they had terrible teams when I was a kid. And the Bulls were pretty bad, too, until Jordan came along. It all happened at once. I didn't even live there when they started winning stuff. Right. But no, this town will literally explode.
Oh, my God. We won't be able to handle it.
When they win a division, this town will explode. When they win a playoff game, this town will explode. If they get any further than one playoff or 2 playoff games, this town may just immolate. There may be spontaneous combustion, and the town will blow up.
Imagine the conversation today had Jameis Winston led them on a touchdown there at the end and won 35-33.
It
would be
scary,
apocalyptic in this town.
They win in Chicago, and then we have that home game at night on a Saturday. This town might explode then.
And we got Michigan, of course, was
What happened?
Wait, you're done with the Lions?
What happened?
What else you want to say about the Lions?
People want to
Drew
talk
wants
about
to
the Lions.
Drew wants to complain about them more.
I'm not complaining. I think they're having a
Just
great
messing
year.
with you.
You see they flex that game, that damn Broncos.
That's what I was talking about. Yeah.
I don't like that shit.
Why?
What'd they do?
Our schedule.
Oh, because of that's why I like. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Selfishly for us.
The Denver Lions game was flexed to Saturday night on the 16th of December. That's what I was saying. This town might blow up then.
Well, we could do the show late that night and skip Sunday.
Ooh, I kind of like that idea.
It's just a thought.
I like that idea a lot. The cool thing is it's on the NFL Network, so no one will be able to watch. People watch.
Now, that'll make people figure out how to get the NFL Network. They'll get some scripts.
Let me ask you guys this. How many games on Thursday night have you watched on Amazon Prime?
None.
A couple, actually quite a few.
First half before I fall asleep.
And you know what? I
watch
hate
them
it.
all.
It lags so bad.
Now, Eli, I'm the opposite of that. I end up catching like the last quarter because I go, oh my God, there's a football game on tonight. What channel is it on? Because it's not on my usual rotation. And it's just a pain in the ass to watch.
It takes me about a minute and a half to get Amazon to come up, and that's deterrent enough.
Yeah,
Unless
it's
I'm
not a
really
good-
interested
it's
in the game.
Not a good site.
You want the stats for the game?
I do.
Love them.
All right.
Port had 9 catches, 140 yards. That's
Tight end record.
Yeah, I'm a fantasy team.
what they do in the running game.
Jahmyr Gibbs, 8 for 60, 7.5 average. David Montgomery, 18 for 56. Jameson Williams, 1 for 19 and a touchdown. Khalif Raymond had 1 for 9. Goff passing 16, only 25 attempts today, but 213 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He was sacked once. Receiving, Laporte, you mentioned Amon-Ra St. Brown, only 2 catches for 49, but he had a touchdown.
Poor production by our receivers.
That's not a good game for
He
Alvin
was
Ross
needling
St. Brown. Josh Reynolds had 1 catch.
Oh, just
Jamison
1 catch.
Williams had 1 catch.
But Reynolds was a huge catch on 3rd and 8
No,
at the end
I
of the
agree.
game that actually iced it.
I couldn't
Total
agree
team
more.
effort.
No, I'm glad you guys are
Laporta's
so
a
happy
ball
with our
hog.
production at
What a
Wideout.
ball hog Laporta is. How dare he catches 9 of the 16 receptions.
Brock Wright had 1 for 8. Donovan Peoples-Jones, nothing.
Drop
No
again,
catches.
Peoples-Jones.
What's
He had a
wrong with
target.
him?
He had a target, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
David Montgomery, 1 catch for -1. Jameer Gibbs, 1 catch for -6. So, yeah, why did we pass so little? I guess 30 carries,
Didn't need
142.
to.
That's pretty
Yeah.
good. But honestly, that's a low yardage game for the Lions. 347 yards and 33 points.
There was
They had 460 against Green Bay.
there was a large portion of that game where they did nothing.
Saints' Derek Carr, with his 15 straight completions, finished 17 of 22 for 226, a touchdown and a pick. Winston was 2 for 5 for 41. Rushing, they had 36 carries for 113. Taysom Hill, 13 for 59 and a score. Kamara, 14 for 51 and 2 scores. And then Olave had the 5 catches for 119. Kamara, 6 for 58. And A.T. Perry, 1 for 30.
You have stats that are far worse than the ones that I use.
Foster Moreau, 2 for 28. Taysom Hill, 2 for 15. And Jimmy Graham, 1 for 6 and a touchdown.
I
I
know.
believe that some of his figures may be inaccurate.
How weird was it seeing Jimmy Graham catch a touchdown? Like, oh, what year is it? I remember this guy in the Saints.
40 years old. Yeah.
I know, that's crazy.
His first game
2
of the year, I
receptions
think.
this year, 2 touchdowns.
We just had the 2 sacks, Aquara and Bruce Irvin, and a pick by Brian Branch.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. One-handed
Rookie.
catch, too, on that. Yeah, Branch. So anyway, we have the Lions, and on Saturday night, which was the night of the Michigan game, I also recorded the Pistons game because there's just some numbers here that don't make any sense to me. And before we talk about Michigan, I just want to say how disturbing it all is. And I got no personal animosity against Tom Gores, even though he bought the Pistons in 11. Told me he loved watching me growing up in Flint. I worked for them, and then he fired me the next week. But the point is, last week I said he was the worst owner in Detroit history. Doesn't live here, comes for the opener where he sits courtside in his leather pants, and that's about it. Every other Detroit team
wear
owner
leather pants a
cared.
lot?
He's
Doesn't he always get wasted on his trip
Yeah.
to Detroit? He
The
comes here, he watches a game, gets plowed.
I waited the night he bought the team for 2 or 3 hours to interview him. Finally, he says, kept putting me off because he's with people. He comes out, he was so stinking drunk. It's the only time I've done an interview that I couldn't use because the guy talked to
Subject was hammered.
Yeah. Anyway, the other owners, Mike Ilitch cared. Bill Ford may have been a great owner.
Are you
but
trying to
cared.
kill our YouTube audience by talking about the Pistons before college football?
Well, I'm trying
He's
to keep,
teasing him.
I'm trying to keep them along. I'm just saying that it's I look because they average 18,000 in attendance, and I go, how is that possible?
It's not.
So I watched the game to look, and about halfway through, or I picked a time like mid-second quarter when they should all be in their seats, maybe half filled, but how many people are really paying? The point being, they've lost 17 straight games, almost a statistical anomaly, but this number. They've played 13 seasons now without winning a single playoff game. It's almost impossible for that to happen. There have been 1,300 playoff games since 2008. They have not won one. But here's the real number. When Steve Ballmer and Matt Ishbia bought the Clippers and the Suns for $4 billion each, the Pistons are valued in Forbes at $3.1 billion. He paid less than $300 million. So the worst owner in the history of Detroit and maybe in the history of the NBA has made $2.7 billion for being the worst owner we have ever seen. It is really disgusting.
Did you say the house was half full?
It may have been half full, but how many?
I can't believe it's half full
because
of bodies.
because they paper the crowd. How many of those people actually paid? There's a lot of people that get in for free because they don't want it to. The entire upper deck is empty. So I mean, it's an illusion that they get 18,000 there a game because they're giving it away. But it's just a very sad thing, and that was once a proud franchise. I covered them. I worked for them. They won championships, and they're off the radar. But at least we got the Lions, and of course we have Michigan, which now I think finally can we say the controversy has become a bit moot.
Oh, you think?
I think it's
You
because
think it was all bullshit?
it wasn't all bullshit. There was legitimate,
Bullshit.
but I think
It was a minor rule.
people piled on. Did you see? Speaking of that, before we get to the
But I
game,
promised objective coverage.
so
Oh, you don't think it was bullshit?
it was such bullshit.
Oh, come on.
Bobby
Did
Petrino.
something
don't?
wrong.
Well, sure they
screwed
did.
up.
Sure they did.
They got caught.
They got caught. But
Okay.
I'd say
No, I agree, but
and
the
there may
penalty-
be further punishment that's going to determine whether.
The overreaction, ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, so and does it happen a lot? This is why. This is a great quote this week. Bobby Petrino, who Arkansas fired a decade ago for lying about a motorcycle crash he had while riding with a female football department employee, comes back as Arkansas's new offensive coordinator. Now, after they fired him, he went to work for Louisville. So they asked him at his news conference this week about the Michigan sign stealing scandal. So he
Are
said,
we still litigating this, for Christ's sake?
He said, He said, I didn't pay attention to the Michigan story, but I do know when you played Clemson, you knew they had a guy on the sideline with the sheet of your paper with all your signals on it, which is a knock on Clemson, of course. But so anyway, it goes on. Everybody does it. Michigan, I'm not saying they don't deserve what happened to them. They do. But now we'll see, and we can put it aside because they're going to play for the championship in less than a month. But let's see whether Harbaugh comes back, what the future is.
Who likes them against Alabama, by the way?
I do.
I don't know.
Did you, so the way
Why not?
Alabama's
Just because
pretty
it says
good.
Alabama? Are they, though? I mean, are they really that good?
They just beat Georgia.
Yeah, they also needed a ridiculous play to beat Alabama. They almost lost to Southern Florida.
To beat, oh, you mean
Or
Auburn?
Auburn, I'm sorry. They almost lost to Southern Florida. They barely beat A&M. Now, they did blow out LSU and Ole Miss. But, I mean, that team is very inconsistent. I don't know why.
They have been kind of inconsistent, but they won the SEC. I mean, you can't take that away
Thank
from
you,
them.
and roll Tide.
I know you don't like this Michigan team, but they're pretty
What do
fucking
you mean I
good.
don't like this Michigan team? I do like this Michigan
Call
team.
them
They're very
boring. You
good.
think they cheat. This is
No, they're boring because they're so good. They beat everybody. They're never in a game. They've been in one game or maybe two games. Penn State and I guess you could say Maryland. I never was worried in the Maryland or the Penn State game.
How about the Iowa
Ohio
game?
State game? I thought that was a tough game.
And I wasn't even worried last night when they were down. when they were only up
Oh,
10-0
God.
because Iowa wasn't capable of scoring any points.
What was Iowa ranked before that game?
17.
16 or 17. Yeah.
Really? God, their
They-
offense is so bad. I mean, Michigan's defense was great, but I'm just saying.
Historically bad offense. They had 35 yards and 24 carries last night.
How many passing yards did they have?
Well, they had about 120 passing yards because they had to throw. But, man. So Michigan wins
They
26
do play good
nothing.
defense, but their offense is just abominable. I'm amazed they're 17th ranked.
That's because
do
they
you know-
have a great defense.
Do you know they have more punting yards this year than offensive yards by about like 1,000?
They had a stat. They were like making that punter. They gave him a
He's really
graphic
good.
and everything. He was all like,
The punter of the year in the Big Ten.
Just an historically a bad team. It's remarkable that they could have won the West, won 10 games when they averaged, I think, 10 or 12 points a game for the entire season. And, of course, it went down last night with 0. Mike Sanristal is the MVP, forced a couple of fumbles. Yeah, said after the
that,
game,
too.
the worm has turned, which is true, is referring to the fact that in 2020, when they were 2-4 and Harbaugh had his contract slashed, they were nothing. In fact, I thought at the time they were going to lose J.J. McCarthy because he signed in 21. Why would a 5-star guy come here with the dumpster fire that had become Michigan? But you know what they say now: those who stay and will win 2 more will be champions, and that's what it'll take. And now let's talk for a minute about the rankings, which is Michigan 1 now, Washington 2. Texas is 3 and Alabama 4, and Texas had to be 3 because they beat Alabama. So
Well,
out-
once you saw they were 3, you knew Bama was in.
yeah, and Georgia is out, which is tough. They're number 1. They lose by 3 points, and now they're out of the playoff. The other team that's really pissed that has a legitimate beef is Florida State.
oh, they got screwed.
I don't think they did.
You don't think they got screwed?
Undefeated.
I think without their
13-0.
quarterback, there's no way they're better than Alabama or Texas.
Of course not. Of course not. So
What else can they do? They won every game on their
No,
schedule.
I totally agree, but I just think to go into the best 4 teams in the playoff, I
course,
don't think they can
exactly.
be that without their quarterback.
Listen,
yeah, but you don't.
It's
don't
like
know
figure
that,
skating.
though.
People vote. People vote.
But it's not supposed to be on what could happen and how we feel about a team and the name on their chest. It's about what they accomplished.
No, it isn't.
throughout the-
No,
but
it
it's
isn't.
but it should be.
It's about the
an undefeated Power Five being left out. I think it's ridiculous.
There's a lot of things in sports like that. Like what does it take to get into the Hall of Fame? Nobody knows. So what does it take to be the top 4 teams?
Who did Florida State beat, by the way? Clemson?
LSU.
LSU, they beat.
They played Florida non-conference and beat them.
Point is, their quarterback got hurt.
Is one of their big wins?
And right now, they're not one of the 4 best teams. So you can argue that
Their offense looked sick. I watched a lot of their game last night because Michigan was boring. Their quarterback, I mean, their offense was absolutely hapless.
Yeah, that's a third-string quarterback. Yeah.
So right now,
Rodemaker would have been back.
okay, since you're defending them, let me ask you.
I just
Right
think
now-
it's ridiculous. I don't know what you want that team to do other than win all the games on their schedule.
Or do you want the best 4 teams to be? Listen, I wish they were in because Michigan would clobber them, and that would have been the team they played at number 4. They would have played Florida State.
Well,
but now they're going to play a team
Michigan would have rolled over them.
Of course. So
you don't know. I mean,
so Mike Norvell, the coach.
2023 shows that this is the year of TV running college football. I mean, with all the teams moving around.
Always run college football.
Yeah, but they have full control now because, NCAA doesn't run the playoffs. So you see all these schools moving around. Come on, you're telling me they don't want Alabama? Of course they do. Or the SEC in general? Of course they do.
Mike Norvell,
It's the best conference in college football.
They have a worse non-conference record than the ACC, the Big 12, and the Pac-12. I know they always, when they win championships, that's fine.
They've won 13 out of the last 17. I don't know how the conference got that bad in 1 year. I mean, if Georgia had won yesterday, they would be number 1, wouldn't they?
Tell me, who are the good teams outside of Alabama,
next year they got
Georgia,
Texas
and LSU?
Next year they got Texas.
Don't say
and Oklahoma.
Missouri.
Missouri's what, 10-3?
Yeah.
Listen, you can argue that a long time. The fact is, the 4 best teams. Ohio State can bitch too. They lost to Michigan. They were number 1 and lost to Michigan by 6 points, and now they're out. Georgia, number 1, won 29 straight games. They go from 1 to out.
Also to Alabama.
It is totally fun.
Why should Alabama get screwed? Because they played a really compelling non-conference game.
Well, they didn't get screwed.
A long time ago.
They lost by 10 at home.
But they're the only, of all those teams, aren't they the only team that played a tough non-conference game?
Yeah, well.
So should they be punished for that? They won the SEC after that. That was 11 weeks ago.
College football has always benefited from the fact that it isn't a standard playoff system where teams make the playoffs and they have a single elimination and the winner emerges. It's always been like figure skating and gymnastics, where judges say, here's what we think it should really be.
Well, then why isn't Georgia in it? I mean, isn't Georgia better than, say, Texas or Washington?
Yeah, I think they got a
lost to
legitimate
Alabama,
bitch.
unfortunately. I mean, that's a pretty tough gig when you go. I mean, look at the tough.
Well, no, but if
conference
you're saying
they had to play.
it's the 4 best teams, do you think Georgia's one of the 4 best teams?
Could be.
Then they should be in the playoffs.
They blew the game yesterday.
Life can be so unfair.
But that's my point. Alabama has a loss too. Florida State does not. I just don't know what you want a team to do when they're in a Power 5.
It's a legitimate bitch, and Florida State's got a legitimate bitch.
They got a weaker schedule though. I mean, who did Florida State played Florida non-conference?
And LSU, and they destroyed LSU.
But they beat, other than that, Clemson.
When you look at the advanced analytics, they're almost on par with Alabama too.
Right now, they're not one of the. Georgia could be.
Well, then
Florida
Michigan should
State
have an easy time with Alabama.
So anyway, Mike Norvell.
Michigan.
Mike Norvell, you ready? I am disgusted and infuriated with the committee's decision today to have what was earned on the field taken away because a small group of people decided they knew better than the results of the games. What is the point of playing the games? Do you tell players it's okay to quit if someone goes down? Do you not play a senior on senior day? Blah, blah, blah. It goes on and on and on. So he says, I'm hurting for our players, and they're pissed. And they got a right to be.
Well, they
That's the
can
way
beat
it
Ohio
goes.
State and prove, or who they play? Georgia.
Yeah,
They can beat
Florida State and
Georgia,
Georgia.
and if they beat Georgia, they can have an even bigger gripe.
They should declare themselves national champions.
14-0.
I mean, you beat an SEC team and you're undefeated. Why wouldn't you be national champions?
Anyway,
Wait, what SEC team do they beat? Florida?
If they beat Georgia.
Oh. Yeah, no, I'd be very surprised to see that. I mean, will everyone play in that game, by the way? Will some guys go, well, I'm going pro?
For Florida State?
Or for Georgia?
good question. Could be in that
There's
game.
going to be some of that.
I don't think I'd play in
I
that
think
game.
all
if I
4
were one
will
of those
play
kids.
for the championship.
Hey, did you hear that our friend Joe got kicked out of the stadium last night?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I saw him yesterday.
Joe was Joe was yelling "fuck Tony Petiti," and he was tossed.
I think it was. I saw his
For life.
I saw his. Did he send you the arrest report?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Well, he's also quite intoxicated, apparently.
Oh, well, I didn't know we were going to talk
I
about
love
that.
him. Well, no, people drink at college football games, believe it or not.
Listen, college
I
football.
think he was proud of it.
College
Oh,
football.
he was. No, I was talking to him all night about it. Yeah.
The crowd enjoyed him on the way out of the stadium.
He's a funny dude.
A lot of appreciation from the fans.
You know,
Was he yelling as they dragged him out?
I don't know. The report said that he was yelling at other fans too. I think he kind of denied that. Because he told me he just yelled "fuck Tony Petiti."
Yeah, that's all I heard too.
did he say "fuck you" to Tony Petiti or just "fuck Tony Petiti"?
Well, I think he just yelled it from the crowd. God. Oh no, he said,
wasn't-
"quote
weren't
Go
more-
fuck yourself, Petiti," is what he
He
yelled.
can't be the only one that yelled that.
Well, I was telling you, I've never heard booze like that. And part of the problem was Petiti came out of the tunnel right underneath the Michigan band and student section, so they knew where he was the second he walked out.
I give Harbaugh credit for taking the high road and shaking Petiti's hand. Then he had Petiti hand the trophy to Zach Zinter.
Did Petiti say one word?
Nope.
Nope.
He kind of faded in the back like that Homer Simpson meme.
Joel Klatt did a good job.
I like Joel. I don't know if you ever listen to his show. He's pretty good pie. He's pretty level-headed.
Yeah, except he and Kirk Herbstreit, who I also like, they got two new phrases that drive me crazy. Stay on schedule.
Oh, thank you, Eli. That's not new, by the way. That's been going on all season long. They
season,
said it today, too, during
Stay on
Lions
schedule.
game.
The Lions they're not on schedule on 3rd and 10 here.
On schedule, there's no schedule for the first two downs.
You should have checked for rescheduling.
What they're trying to say is 3rd and short. They're able to get 3rd and short. This is how about this one? Instead of saying it's a first down, it's a fresh set of downs. My trainer pointed it out to me, Jeff. It's a fresh set of downs.
Moving the chains.
So in other words, it isn't he got 6 yards for a first down. Now it's he used his legs to move the chains for a fresh set of downs. Such elevated speech. Anyway, so Harbaugh, who didn't shake Petiti's hand,
Yeah.
When you look back at what he did, I think what's gone unmentioned is the incredible year he had in the transfer portal. He got 9 guys that made the difference. He's his kicker, James Turner, he got from Louisville. He was a Groza Award finalist, I think, the last 2
From
years.
Celine, yeah.
Did he miss a field goal this year? I swear it seems like they're so
yeah.
automatic on field goals the last 5-6 years.
But,
Yeah, he missed one.
yeah.
Just
That I can think of off the top of my head, yeah.
But think of it. So Louisville has him. He makes 20 out of 22 last year, 30 out of 39 extra points, and they lose him. Look at Stanford. They lost those 2 great linemen, Nugent and was it Miles Hinton?
Hinton, yeah.
Come
Didn't
from
play that much,
Stanford.
but yeah.
That great edge rusher, Josiah Stewart, comes from Coastal Carolina.
Well, they got the tackle from Arizona State, too, Henderson.
Yep.
And Ernest Hausman, the inside linebacker.
So he gets 9 players who are all major
Barner from Indiana.
Barner, and he had 2
backup
Indiana captains. Yeah, the other guy was who was the other guy?
The quarterback.
The backup Tuttle.
Yeah.
So he gets Indiana's captains to come here. He gets starters that have played 40, 50 college games to come here. So the free agency in college football is insane.
Indiana lost a lot of because they lost that quarterback at Washington.
I know
too.
that Penix.
Holy
They lost,
shit!
So they just fired Tom Allen and gave him $21 million
To walk away.
So now
But we can't pay the players.
football teams are down 166 million, and then you know what? That doesn't count what Michigan State may have to wind up paying Tucker. That's not over. That could cost them another. They're going to be $200 million being paid.
Oh, they're not going to pay Tucker $100 million.
No. But I bet it's going to cost them 10 to 20 to go away.
Yeah, could be.
All right. So that would be close to $200 million for coaches to not coach, and the players make
Zip.
And of course, that was the other great quote. Matt Rule actually had the quote of the week when he said that was a great quote. They asked him what he's going to look for a quarterback in the transfer portal because his quarterbacks, he had 3 quarterbacks that played on and off this year, and he goes, just so we're on the same page, we all understand what's happening. A good quarterback in the portal costs $1 to $2 million, and there's some that have $6 or $7 million players playing for them. So it's just.
How much does Matt Rule make?
Well, I think $8 or $9 million a year. But the school pays him. The outsider's got to pay the players.
He doesn't have a hustle business.
It's so broken.
Did you guys see Washington, Oregon, by the way?
Oh,
What
yeah.
a fucking game that was.
Great game.
When Oregon scored in 2 plays, when Washington went up by 10 or whatever, oh my God, I could not believe they scored in 2 plays. And Oregon, honestly, I'm sure they're as unhappy as almost anybody. I mean, they
It's okay.
lost
They
2
get to
games,
play.
but
They get to play Liberty in the Fiesta Bowl. They'll probably win by 50.
that's a really, really
Liberty's
good team.
undefeated.
Oh, you like Liberty over Oregon?
With Liberty as our slogan?
Is the quarterback at Oregon or the quarterback at LSU going to win the Heisman?
That's a great
Jaden
question.
Daniels.
Yeah,
Got to be him.
That Bo Nix he is really great. He's good.
Bo
And
Nix
so's
is
a
great.
Washington guy. He's great too.
Yeah, there's 5 or 6 of them. You got Nix, you got Marvin Harrison, you got who else? You got
Jaden Daniels.
Penix, you got Jaden Daniels, and J.J. McCarthy's was in the conversation. He was the top seed about 4 or 5 weeks ago.
He's got like half the touchdown passes
Yeah.
of Penix. I mean, they just don't throw enough. If Michigan threw more,
Well, he hurt
he'd
his
probably be a
ankle, and
better
they
candidate.
ran like 32 straight runs, and then last night against that defense. So, but I don't think he's too worried about that. But yeah, that's so. Who's your favorite on Tuesday? I think it's Tuesday. They give out the award. Whatever.
For the Heisman,
Heisman, isn't it
just a
Saturday?
beauty
I would
contest.
imagine it's got to be Nix or the LSU guy, right?
Yeah. I think it'll be Jaden Daniels.
Even though he's hasn't got-
Because if Penix is in the running, don't they do it by region? Won't that split votes and all that crap?
yeah, he hasn't gotten Jaden Daniels. Though hasn't gotten a lot of publicity. I think it's
Sure, Liberty's getting 15.5. There's your bet over Oregon.
15.
15.5 for the Fiesta Bowl.
They're getting 15 points.
Yeah.
I got another great
That's
quote
not
for
much.
you.
They'll go up, I bet. What's that, Eli?
No, I got. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I have another great quote. Did you see what LeBron James said this week?
Oh God!
About
Thankfully, I didn't.
He's
About Maverick?
No, he makes 40. By the way, he makes $49.5 million a year, $603,000 a game. And after they had lost by 23 to the Thunder on Thursday, he told reporters that, by the way, I'm going to be at Bronny's first game for the Trojans, even if I got to miss the Lakers game.
Oh God!
He said, I told my teammates that I'll have to catch him on the next gun. Family over everything. Saying, what the? They pay you $603,000 a game. Fans pay hundreds of dollars of tickets to come in, and you're going to go see your son who's going to play 4 years or could play. So this is just the arrogance of all of it.
Well, did you see Angel Reese, the superstar LSU women's player? She's been benched for 2 weeks for something the coach won't discuss, apparently locker room issues. While she was benched, by the way, her mother got in a battle on social media with another teammate's mother because Angel Reese's mother criticized the other teammate's mom for her stupid grammar on Instagram. So the other woman came back and said, you know about bad grammar errors. Your daughter has less than a 2.0. You are petty, fake, and hateful. So anyway, Angel Reese claims that she was taking a mental health break. Now, that's not what anyone else says, but she claims pros do it all the time.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, she has
load management.
17 sponsors. 17 sponsors. She said, I want to stay at LSU because I'm going to take a pay cut when I go to the WNBA. Her sponsors, let's see, Wingstop, McDonald's, Raising Cane's, Amazon, Sonic, Bose, Banter by Piercing, Pagoda, TurboTax, Xfinity, JanSport, Outback Steakhouse, and she's working on a shoe deal, and she's trademarking Bayou Barbie, which she says will make her a lot of money. I didn't even know that was her nickname, by the way, but anyway. 17 sponsors?
That's good. Good for her. She's high profile. They won a championship last year. She plays for a prominent program, and
Too bad she can't get along with her teammates, but
well,
guess that doesn't matter.
she and the coach Kim Mulkey, who's supposed to be a real bitch.
Yeah.
Just one of these really hard-ass, tough coaches to play for, but they were all hugs and kisses when she came back to
Angel Reese tweeted, make sure the apology is as loud as the disrespect before she came back in the last game, so she's expecting an apology from someone that will be as loud as the disrespect that she received.
I got one more good quote for you. Remember Jabril Peppers played for Michigan?
Mm-hmm.
So the other day...
Is he still in the NFL, by the way?
Last week, the Patriots lose 10-7 in an ugly game to the Giants. So there's a hot mic as he went to embrace Saquon Barkley, his former teammate, and said, "You're lucky, we ass." You're lucky, we ass. It got caught on camera, made social media by the NFL Films microphone, worn by Saquon Barkley, which he didn't realize he had a microphone on. So, of course, Jabril says, "I'm 28. I know better. I'm a pro. I know I'm smiling now, but I was very angry, you know." So, anyway, I speak my mind, got caught in a hot mic, man. Now, that's a Michigan man owning up, right, Mark?
Exactly. Sure. I'll take it.
Sure.
They are
I
ass.
think that's survivable. More than survivable.
Drew, did you want to make any comment on the Dr. Pepper challenges? Because you were tweeting like a madman over everyone.
I was so into the Dr. Pepper halftime challenge, especially the Michigan-Iowa game was just not that exciting to me. So I was looking forward to the Dr. Pepper challenge. And I got to give props to Andrew, who during the Alabama game actually threw overhand passes.
Drew, when I was watching that live, I was like, Drew is going to be so geeked that this guy is
I
throwing.
tweeted immediately, took a picture of him, took a picture of him throwing, tweeted it out. And you know what else I wondered is somebody said they lost $50 on FanDuel betting on the Dr. Pepper challenge. I did not know you could bet on the Dr. Pepper challenge.
Bet on anything.
Bet on anything.
Yeah.
All
Also,
game long.
Do the Dr. Pepper challenge, though? I didn't know that. Do girls ever win the Dr. Pepper challenge against a guy? Because why did they put girls up against guys in that?
Well, you're only throwing the ball 12 feet, and you're pushing it like it's a little shot put. So
But every female I saw lost. So I just wondered, why didn't they put the females up against each other? I mean, maybe they don't care. Maybe they're just... I mean, there was no blowouts in the Dr. Pepper challenge. Fortunately, there were no blowouts.
Wasn't there some controversy, though?
Yes,
there was one miscounting.
Now, they have an official there who looks very official. Is that a real official? Because the fucking official blew it and won. They miscounted. They went to double overtime. They had a shootout. And apparently, the one guy had already won.
Yeah.
Why is that guy standing there in the official's outfit?
He blew it.
You blew it!
And by the way, the officials look really intense. If you look at them at the Dr. Pepper challenge, they really are totally serious about it.
They ended up awarding both people the full money. Dr. Pepper must have been pissed at that ref.
Oh, my God.
They get good
Cost
PR
him 80
for it.
grand.
Yeah.
You know, there's one other thing I wanted to mention about the yesterday. Besides the Dr. Pepper challenge, I could talk about that all day. And I don't know why they don't make everyone pass the ball. I think that's bullshit. One girl, by the way, did you see throwing the ball end over end? One guy's throwing a knuckleball in there. The ball never moved. It just was straight. It was just absolutely motionless in the air. And the other girl was throwing a rotating ball. She lost, of course. But
that's a low percentage play because you're taking up more space.
yeah, it takes more time. It took her longer to get the ball. He was also getting 2 balls out at a time, which I think everyone should have learned that by now, because I noticed a couple other guys were doing that too. Did you guys happen to see the play Keon Entringer of Iowa made, number 4 on the punt return that was almost a touchdown?
Oh, we caught up to him, yeah.
He was all the way
missed the
past,
tackle.
20 yards past the guy, missed the tackle, got up and ran. He had to run around the action pretty much and caught up to.
Was it a
Samaj
Michigan
Morgan.
game? Yes.
Samaj.
It was a Don Beebe Leon Lett play.
It was really
honestly.
amazing. And
Except that Leon Lett was running slow. This guy was running fast.
Imagine if he had a bet of Samaj Morgan scoring a touchdown on that game or a special teams touchdown.
You had which
crazy.
Marquette?
It's crazy.
He had Samaj.
I had too many bets on that game.
Did he slow down or just run out of gas or
He
what?
ran out of gas.
But then the guy had the better angle too, though. I mean, it was a hell of a play.
Yeah, but he was behind him when he started. I mean, he caught him. It was a nice play. I mean, it was a great play by both of them, actually.
Are you guys going to the? We're doing the Killer Kowalski thing Friday night, right?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Tomorrow, I'm going to go to Rite Aid and get my last 2 vaccines. Too many people got RSV. Too many people got.
This will be popular in the chat. Check it out.
I am going to. We'll have gotten 3 vaccines in the last 2 weeks. I don't want to get them.
What do you get, flu shot?
Got a flu shot, and I figured I'm not going to get the others. And then all I hear is people going down. I got my brother-in-law just flew to Florida to play at a great golf course and got sick from breathing shit on the plane.
What
It's
did he
out
get?
I don't know. I just heard that he's sick again. He had COVID a couple of weeks ago, so it must be one of the others because you're not going to get COVID again.
What are your vaccines for? I mean, is it a shingles vaccine and a flu vaccine?
There's 3 they recommend. Your regular flu shot you get every year that Travis Kelce so adequately advertises on television for Pfizer. You got the RSV, which is this respiratory disease. I have a friend who's had it for a month. She's
It's a hard one to get over. Yeah,
very hard to get over.
What's RSV? Is that the white China lung or whatever?
I don't know. It's some
virus.
China white lung.
And the third one is there's another strain of COVID out there. I don't want to get any of them. I'm 73. I don't want these diseases. I don't want. I can't afford it.
Well, you're in the 14% then, because the new
14%?
COVID shots are not popular at all. Nobody's getting them. But I don't know that they hurt people.
We don't know that.
But people have apparently. I think the oversell was so hard that people are like, "Fuck this."
I think now I don't know that. I think there's some evidence that a lot of young children who have got sick after getting vaccines, but I think it's different, and I'm not sure whether that's scientifically proven or not. But if you're older, I don't think there's that risk. I don't understand what it was all the anti-vax stuff came from. It's
because
conspiracy theories.
they said you would never get COVID. Then they said, and then when they said, "Oh yeah, you can't get COVID," then they said you'll never be hospitalized, and then people were getting hospitalized with the vaccine, and then people were dying who had the vaccine. So I think they lost their credibility.
If Donald Trump tells us that we should take it, I'm not taking it.
I just don't think a lot of people believe the CDC, which is pretty pathetic because, honestly, I don't think anyone believes you can state the most basic fact now and like 10% of the population will immediately disagree with you.
Right.
And you can say an absolute scientific fact or other fact. It doesn't matter what it is.
And that's what was weird because the COVID vaccine became political. It should be scientific. It shouldn't be political. But it went right down,
but they were wrong
down
about
political lines.
But they said you would never get COVID, and they insisted it for months.
Did they say never? That'll be greatly reduced.
They sure did.
Absolutely.
They said that's the crazy thing about
never.
science. More data can change stuff.
Right, but you're allowed to question things and not
You're not
be
going to get COVID if you
removed
have
from
these
social media.
vaccinations.
No, people just don't like mandates.
Play that again,
Because
Brandon.
mandates don't work because people do whatever they
You're not
want.
going to get COVID if you have these vaccinations.
They oversold it.
Does that person have any credibility who just said that?
That's
No,
the president.
zero.
I don't think a lot of people would believe him. I mean, people wouldn't take. What did Trump like? Ivermectin, yeah. Anybody on the right would maybe use it to get better, and no one on the left would use it.
Is that what was Aaron
horse
Rodgers referring
tranquilizer.
to when he said I'm inoculated? What was he? Was that the Invervectin?
Aaron Rodgers?
Whatever he said.
Oh,
said I'm
did
inoculated.
he take something else?
He said
I don't know
this
what he
right
did.
here.
Yeah, I've been immunized.
I've been immunized.
That's right.
That's what he is. I've been
He had
immunized.
immunity. Oh, maybe did he
He
have
got
COVID?
it. Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, as it turns out, what he said is not really. Immunity is the best thing you can have.
Anyway, we're talking about you yesterday. Was it? No, Friday. Friday was Jim Johnson's last day on WOMC. And I know you guys, when you were at your peak at Riff, and he was at CSX at the time, and I was working at CSX for a couple of years then, and you guys would be through the glass, and there's two huge studios next to each other, and you guys were killing it. You guys were number one, but it was so weird that you had two rivals in the same building in adjoining studios that were wide open. You could see everything that was going on, but you couldn't hear a peep.
Well, we never could see in their studio.
You couldn't.
There was a block wall between us. Did we ever see? No, we never saw in the studio. But we were using the same cafeteria,
See 'em
getting
all the
coffee,
time, yeah.
and honestly, at that point, going into that building, I always, even though we were doing so well, I dreaded going to that building. I was like, I don't want to be in a building with another radio station in our format. That's disgusting.
I guess it was the same form. You're both playing rock. You were playing current rock in there.
Absolutely.
Rock. But it was, I started with him 50 years ago, and it's just so. I was thinking about you because we talked about you, but do you know when you're going to retire? How much longer are you going to do this? You got another 10 years
I
in
don't
you?
know. I don't think so. I don't know. It depends. Some days I feel really old. Like I'll watch Saturday Night Live and go, I don't even know who this band is. I don't even know who this host is. What am I doing a show for? And other days, and plus I'm not sure what I'm shooting for at this point either, because I think I had illusions of somehow spreading the show out to, other places. So on the internet, you can do that, but it seems that we are what we are, which is great, by the way. I mean, it's amazing. We've been able to keep families fed for 8 years.
Well,
I ran into a listener in Indianapolis just walking through the concourse. Jerry, by the way. Hi, Jerry.
You
Can't believe it, Brandon, because it's live.
You started doing the podcast really in kind of the beginning of podcasting. So it was smart that you got going early on and you were able to build an audience.
No,
Huge
absolutely.
that you started it then. But the reason you do it, and I'm going to allude to why I say this, because Seeger called in and he said something very interesting to Jim. You do it because it's what you do. It's been your entire life. For you to cut off and not do this at all would be a huge void that would be really work on your part to fill it.
It would be hard.
It's very hard when you're a creative person like you are to just stop doing it. So Seeger calls it. They called him, and he wasn't available. He was taking a whiz, and his wife says, "I'm sorry, Jim. He's going to be a couple of minutes. He's in the bathroom." But anyway, he had this cautionary word, which made me think of you, and it's also a fact in my life. So Seeger doesn't tour anymore. And he doesn't make any new albums.
He did recently go to Nashville and sang live with a country singer.
Right. So
who's on his album?
His point was, you got to keep moving a little bit. And now he's taking old songs that were never produced and working on them.
Really?
Songs that were never published.
Oh, cool.
And just kind of, not that he's going to necessarily have another album, but it's something that he can keep just doing what it is that he does. And that's why this job is so. Anyway, to see a career 52 years come to an end, and I said to Jim, you've done 12,000 shows. I added it up, and you've probably done as many. 250 a year. That's how many days
older
you
than
work.
I am. I haven't done as many shows.
Then 50 years, that's 12,000 shows. So you've probably done 9 or 10,000 in your life.
That's that actually is one of the hardest things. Is like, how do you get people fired up to do a special show or to do something that you've never done before, or to, it's hard to be challenged sometimes.
Right.
Because you want it to be better, or you want it to catch on with more people. And it's like, at a certain age, I think you are what you are. But then, other times I look at it and go, well, what we are is pretty good. I mean, we've got some great sponsors. And we have a new sponsor, by the way, Griffin Claw.
And you don't get
brewery.
And you get, unlike athletes, you get better as you get older. You have a much better sense of what it takes now than you did 10 years and 20 years ago.
I think that's true. In many ways, yes.
So I said, Jim, in 2 weeks when you've having to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, that's another reason why you can sustain, because you don't have to face that
if I had to do that,
brutal schedule that you had.
That's terrible. I don't know how he did that.
So I said, when you've had a couple of good nights sleep, you take all the bottles and cans back and you're bored, give me a call. Maybe we'll talk about a podcast or something. But it made me think.
Is he interested in podcasting?
Well, I think he is. I think he is, because as Seeger warned him, it was kind of like, wow, Jim, be careful. It may not be easy. I think it would be very. Although what Jim does by just playing, it's somewhat creative, but he's told what music to play. He's not the last DJ, as Tom Petty said.
Right.
Said what he wanted to say and played what he wanted to play. You've got all the freedom in the world. You can do whatever you want.
That's true.
Yeah.
No, and he, I'm sure he loves music and loves rock and roll, and.
Yeah,
I thought Stoney. I think Stoney is itching to do a podcast because he's retiring from his morning show. He's going to still be doing Lions and post-season, pre-games and post-games and fill-in.
They're kind of phasing him out a little bit.
He was on JJ's show on Thursday. Yeah.
Well, thanks for inviting me, JJ.
I know. I can't believe you were snubbed like that.
That's a huge snub. I'm taking that as a huge snub, JJ.
I was pissed off about it when I asked him on Thursday.
We called him when we heard the announcement, had him on our show.
You know what they'll say? They'll say, well, I didn't make those calls. They surprised me.
So anyway, good point. So I set up because we don't get.
Well, why would they snub me?
I don't. Well, because Joanne Purton set it up, and
then I'm snubbed by Joanne Purton. I feel terribly snubbed.
Now we know who did it. Yeah,
Purton family.
So I got to get an FM radio out, and I put it on the breakfast table when my wife eventually gets up. And I leave at 7 o'clock to go join him at 7:30. So as I plug it in and find 104.3, Mitch Albom calls in.
Oh.
And Mitch Albom says...
Oh, yeah, Mitch Albom. That's certainly an important person in this career.
Mitch Albom calls it because JJ, when he left Riff, had him was the first guy to put Mitch on the radio. He had just been a columnist for the.
Good job.
It sounds like it's about Mitch to me.
So Mitch said, of course. So Mitch says, "It was so great to be your first sportscaster." And I go, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And JJ doesn't say anything. So as I'm driving in, they have two people. They have an interview with Josh.
You didn't want the room to implode.
Josh Groban and Michael Bublé, who did this radio interview with Johnson. Wow, you got an amazing voice. They're raving about Johnson's voice. So I get in there and I said, by the way, and I did throw a little bouquet to Mitch. I said, probably the most prolific media entity in the history of this market. There's nobody who's done more than Mitch with newspapers and radio and television and all that. But I said, and this beautiful voice that everybody's sucking up to you about today, why didn't you say, yes, but Mitch, you weren't my first sportscaster. Eli was. I said, I understand how you're.
Well, Stoney told a story because he used to live with Mitch and another guy, and Mitch was on there, and there was some question, and they didn't know what the answer was. He's like, well, call Stoney up. He always knows the answer to every trivia question.
I can't picture Stoney living with Mitch Albom. I don't know why.
So you can't picture what?
I can't picture Stoney living with Mitch Albom. It seems really strange to me.
So they call him up, or the house where they lived, and I guess the third roommate answered. And they're like, hey, is Stoney there? No, he's at Bonnie's. I'm like, oh, okay. So they never got the answer. And then Stoney starts talking about how he went into DIV, where he worked at the time, and the woman he was dating was a producer at the time, came up to him and goes, hey, who's Bonnie? He was at a different woman's house. He told the story really well. It was a really funny story.
I love that story.
Great.
Anyway, I wore glasses for 23 years, and now it's been 23 years without them. There were two huge differences. One, I see better without the glasses than I ever did with them. LASIK gave me 2015, which is pretty stunning. And two, when I didn't have my glasses on, my uncomfortably blurry world was a reminder that my eyesight is just awful and would only get worse. So I got LASIK from Dr. Yaldo in 2000, and in 2017, he gave me multifocal implants to exchange for my cataract damaged lenses. Both were huge life and lifestyle enhancements. The remarkable improvements in replacement lenses now enjoyed by people all over the world in their 40s and 50s. No need to wait till cataracts set in. You can toss your reading glasses in the trash for good and enjoy precise near and far vision the rest of your life. Get a free evaluation. Let Dr. Yaldo show you how lens replacement can change your life. To 800-398-EYES or YaldoEyeCenter.com.
Get out of here.
Right. I see that smartass Kennedy Broadwell on the chat says, is this a sports podcast?
It's today.
When Kennedy was involved, we were very determined not to have a sports podcast because
That all
that's
comes
all
from
Tom Mazaway wanted to talk about was sports. He would literally interrupt any other content with needless sports data.
Did you like
including
the
partial scores of games?
No way.
Yes.
Oh, all the
Nothing's
time.
more useless than a partial score.
In a podcast.
Some people give partial scores of exhibition games too. I say that's time to shut the radio off.
Did you like the pictures I was sending you and Tom yesterday from the game of the two guys sitting in front of us
What was
who
that guy
did not put their
texting about?
fucking phone down?
Well, Mark, what was he texting about? He had long text messages.
That guy?
Mark's taking pictures over his head of his phone.
Well, there were two of them. There was one where the guy had two phones going because he's watching Florida State in one phone and he's texting everybody in the other. No, but I leaned in to try and read it. He was texting about the game, but he had like multiple chats going with multiple friends and stuff.
It's not enough to watch the game.
While he was there with his wife and his kid, what's he gonna do? Talk to them?
Oh my God. Weird.
It was a fun time.
There were some long texts.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Eli.
Yep.
I was writing some long texts too. Long texts yesterday.
To whom?
To Carl. I'll tell you in a minute. Oh man.
Well, we should probably do one of these. Or do you want to acknowledge some of the money that came in?
Just mention Polyvoo.
What do you mean money?
We got some stickers here on that live event. I didn't know that people were even going to do that.
Super chats?
Super chat.
Not super chats, but
Super
stickers.
stickers.
Super fans.
Are we supposed to read something for the money? How much money came in?
One person donated, I think it was like $45 I saw.
Really?
Yeah, and there's 5 here and 5 there.
Yeah.
I guess we could get by in super chats like Stuttering John.
Maybe.
No, I sent Carl some really long text messages because I was listening to Carl's new show, which is great. It's with just him and Trucker Andy, who goes by Andy Q Public now. I didn't know he went by Andy Q
Yeah,
Public.
I've recently heard that too.
Anyway, they're down in Florida. And Howard got really mad in 2006 or 7 or 8 because John went on the Adam Carolla show and all high and mighty because he's Mr. Tonight Show.